Hi, everybody. It's not done for a while. Game show wave. Get your game show wave out, guys and girls. Come on, get your game show wave out. I don't know what Jamie's doing.
I missed this.
Thinks he's on Barn of the Dinosaur or something. I love you. Jamie, I do believe that these, around this vicinity, around here somewhere, no, this vicinity, not your vicinity, this vicinity right here, yeah. It's the 89th edition of the Chronicles of Podcast.
It is?
It's the 89th, and I believe, but because he's a magician, you can't see him anyway. These are the Chronicles of Alan Hudson.
Yeah, they are.
Absolutely fantastic. He fooled Penn and Teller. I doubt we can. Hit it!
Hey, honey bunny, it's Rivka Reyes.
This is Ron Wasserman, the nut that wrote Go-Go Power Rangers.
It's Boba Fett here.
This is Molly Rennick from Living Dead Girl.
It's WWE superstar, legend, Davey Boy Smith's daughter, Georgia Smith.
Hey everyone, my name is Alan Hudson. I am a magician. In fact, I'm a member of the Inner Magic Circle, whatever that is. We'll find out about that later on. But let's listen now to Tom and Jimmy with the Chronicles of Podcast, which is starting right now.
I guess I'll just reattach that. There we go. There you go.
Join us as we bring you the Chronicles of Alan Hudson.
But I definitely think we should bring that man in that everyone's been waiting for, bringing that piece of resistance.
Let's do it.
Welcome to the Chronicles of Alan Hudson.
2, 1.
Alan Hudson is a comedy magician. That's right. He takes stand-up comedy and magic and fuses it together in an incredible live performance. He has been seen all over the world, including TV shows like Penn and Teller Fool Us and Britain's Got Talent. This man is absolutely wonderful. And yeah, this is so much fun. Alan tells us all about his story in the world of magic and all the things he's managed to accomplish, including getting his wife involved in the world of magic. And now she's doing it all on her own. And it's absolutely amazing to see. This is amazing.
Is just don't ever tell Simon Cowell if you're a comedy magician. That's all I can say. Alan, thank you so much for coming on our show, my friend. It was absolutely amazing to have you with us. There are, for people watching this, there are some tricks in the interview, so enjoy those. Not full on like Picard, and that sort of, he literally just goes, blah, blah, because I'm explaining how things work and how they do things there. He is also a member of the Inner Magic Circle. There's only 250 people in the world in the Inner Magic Circle. So this was a truly, really, really fun interview. We had a right laugh with Alan, and it doesn't disappoint. So, Alan, thank you so much for taking the time out to sit and chat to us. Jamie!
Yes, sir.
Any final words at all?
Just a massive thank you to this week's guest. Alan, you were absolutely amazing. Everyone go check out Alan and go watch what he did on Britain's Got Talent and Penn and Teller, because we're going to talk all about it in this interview. So if you want to see it so we know what the hell we're going on about, go look it on YouTube before you watch this interview.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, interviewing this week, he fooled Penn and Teller. It's Alan Hudson.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we bring you a guest unlike anyone we have ever had on the show before, because this week's guest is from the world of magic. He's one of the top magicians here in the UK and a member of the Magic Circle. He's performed all over the world, on stage and even online. He's been on hit TV shows such as Next Great Magician, Britain's Got Talent, Penn and Teller Fool Us, and even worked with the greatest magician of all time, Sooty. He's the only one out of the three of us that can say Willow from Buffy has wrapped them up in cling film. Join us as we bring you the Chronicles of Alan Hudson.
That was good. When you got to Willow, I thought, where's this bit going? He's the only one that can say Will. I went, what's happening here? You're going to also say I've been doing things. I don't know.
The bit we didn't say about.
Okay, good. Oh, good introduction. Yeah, thanks so much.
You're welcome.
I suppose we should get to the real hard-hitting stuff straight from the off. I mean, how have the last few years been for you with the pandemic and everything? Like, have you still been working, that sort of thing, or how have the last few years been?
Yeah, really odd. Like most magicians, comedians, everybody in show business, right? It just fell to pieces, right? And so what I did is I did what everybody else did and just drank for a month, which was brilliant, obviously, absolutely amazing. And then I got asked to do an online magic show. And quite rightly, at the time, I said, "Don't be ridiculous. That's a terrible idea. It'll never work. Right? Why would you even consider such a thing?" And then I got asked again, and I got asked again. And there was one other guy that did it before me. And I was like just passing them on to him. I said, "Oh, this guy started doing them, And then eventually it got to a point where I went, why don't I give it a go? I'm literally not doing anything else. I'm walking for 1 hour a day and I'm drinking. That is literally all I was doing, right? So I thought, well, maybe it'd be quite good fun to put a magic show together. And then I did one of those weekly quizzes, that everybody was doing in April 2020, when it was fun. And then in the interval, I said to there was about 30 people on this quiz, and I said to the guy that was hosting it, I said, "Can I just do in between one rounds? Can I do a magic trick just to sort of test it?" And I thought it'll be terrible, right? It'll be shit, but I'll do it. And I did it. It got such an amazing reaction. I couldn't believe it because I thought, how do you do magic online? How do you do it over a Zoom call like this? And people don't know it's camera tricks or how dodgy, something's going on, right? But they didn't. They just completely went for it, and it's just amazing. And then so from there, I put together a half an hour show. I did the first one. From that, I got 3 other bookings. From that, got 3 other bookings from each of them 3 bookings. And then within a month, I was doing 100 gigs. And then since then, I've done about 2,000 gigs online. And I can honestly say it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. So all I'm saying is roll on lockdown 4.
Are you still getting to do them now? Obviously, the world's open again. Just people still booking them now.
Yeah, I am, because what is crazy, right, is not only so it's set off at birthday parties and lockdown things and weddings that were going to happen or events that were going to happen, and then they said, "Oh, we're going to do it online, so we'll get some Alan in to come entertain us." But now what's happening is, especially in America and stuff, all their big companies, they all work all over the place anyway, so they're not together. So what happens is they all have meetings online all the time. And because of all this new entertainment that came about, because of the lockdown, they're booking that entertainment. So let's say it's Google, for instance, who now book me, which is weird. Google, Netflix, Twitter, Facebook, Meta, all those people now book me, which is crazy. And they have little mini teams within that. And then, so on a Friday afternoon, maybe they'll say, "Right, we're having our monthly meet where we meet up for an hour to connect with each other online and have a face-to-face." And they might book a wine tasting one week, and then me another week, and then maybe some sort of pop quiz or something fun another time. But I'm one of those things now that people get in to entertain. So yeah, amazing. I've done 2 this week already. I've got 2 or 3 next week. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah.
I love the idea of when it first started, people just you had it's how does this going to work? And it's a hand just appearing. Oh no, wait, hang on, because you can't see the depth of the screen.
Yeah, because there is the thing I have to sort of make sure I have to kind of go, "Hey, look, the deck's in the middle of the screen the whole time. It's not going to leave there." I won't do the trick now because, but you have to think of a card and hold it there and then turn it around. And once you do that, if you'd have thought the Ace of Hearts, then that's for real. That's not a CGI, right? So you can see that's real. So as long as I prove it's all legit and above board and real, and exactly how you'd be seeing it in real life, that's the main thing. And then also I do a thing where I can get other people to cut their, I say to somebody else, cut their cards, and they'll cut their cards, and I can tell them what card they've cut to, and then they can, so I can say, "Well, look, you've cut to the Ace of Hearts again," and then they show it, and it is right, and stuff like that. So there's really good things where the magic can happen in their house as well, which is really odd. Yeah,
so cool.
So there you go. I speak to comedians now, and they go, because I'm on the comedy circuit as well. Like I do sort of magic and comedy on the comedy scene. I speak to comedians and they go, I hate them Zoom gigs. I did about 10 of them. I hate them. I go, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It's like the best thing that could ever happen to me. So,
That's my bread and butter. I earn a fortune and I don't leave the house. Yes.
Yeah. This whole room is now a Zoom room. This is like the whole thing has become like a studio setup. So you can, everything is all sort of involved in the act and stuff. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's amazing. I love it. But Mr. Hudson, take us back to the start for you. What did young Master Hudson wish to be when he was growing up? Has it always been like magic and performance for you, or was it, I don't know, train driver at some point?
Always wanted to be a Zoom magician. That's what I wanted to be. Even when I was 5, I thought one day I'm going to be a Zoom magician.
I don't know what Zoom is, but I'm going to.
I don't know what it is. I always wanted to be a magician. Like that was like honestly one of my first memories. So on my 5th birthday party, I had a magician, and I think like a lot of people did. Right? I don't. Did you guys have one? Like when you were? Or you probably went to one.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember having one.
Did you, Tom? Did you have a magician or?
I don't think I ever had one myself, but I think I remember going to a few where there were some, because I did a lot of RAF bases, so I think they put on a lot of that sort of thing.
Right, yeah. So either you had one yourself or you went to one, and those kids magicians, and they often had like, a magic wand, and you would hold it and it would fall to bits, or and all that sort of thing. Right? But the one I had was mental. Right? He was absolutely mental because in my front room, he produced all these chicken. Like sometimes they might produce a rabbit, right? That's that's a good one. You go, oh, it's produced a rabbit. This one produced like chickens, ducks, geese, and they're all running around. Imagine like about 25-year-olds and this magician and all these like chickens running around the front room. And my mum had no idea this was going to happen. Like, she just booked a magician, right? £10. Came with all stuff. And I thought this was crazy. And then he put my auntie in a big box and he did the sign and heart trick with her in front of 5-year-olds. Right? So I started crying because he just killed my auntie with a big saw, right? But then he put her back together again and she was alive again. I went, well, that's brilliant. That's good. And then he showed an empty pan. This is like the big finish. He showed an empty pan. He asked me to go outside and get some sawdust from outside. And so I got some sawdust, put it in, and then he put the top on it, and I had to wave the magic wand. Fell to bits, but it didn't really matter. And then he lifted up the pan like this, and there was a big birthday cake in it for me. Bearing in mind, my mum had already paid, and this was years ago, but she'd already paid him £10. He must have spent like at least £2 on a cake. There was not a lot of profit in that. But I thought that is magic, right? Because I've just magicked up a birthday cake. Imagine I could just do magic, and I could do that any time I wanted. Magic up cake, which is a dream when you're 5. And that's obviously that you can't think of anything better than that. Not £1 million. Just go. Imagine I can get cake
whenever I want.
Whenever I want. Right? And so I started doing magic straight away. So that was it. I was like getting the Paul Daniels magic sets. I was like going to the library getting magic books. Obviously, I was terrible then, but you get better eventually. And then I'm in a weird position. I'm like, I've never wanted to do anything else than this. Never wanted to be, an astronaut or train driver or whatever. Yeah, I've just always wanted to do it.
It's nuts. I can imagine as a 5-year-old though. You're like, Mum, can I have a saw, please? Have a saw and a box.
Yeah. I need a big box.
Are there any family members you're not that keen on? I could practice.
But like, it takes like some serious concentration and persistence to obviously do what you do. Because I think I tried it for all of 5 minutes and was like, I can't be asked anymore.
Yeah, most people do that. I'll tell you what most people do. They get a magic box and they do like some of the really simple bits and they go, oh, look, that kind of works itself. Like you go, and you show someone, you go, oh, and it's gone, right? And the little ball's gone, or you put a card in a little box and you go like that, you open it up and the card's gone or something. And that's good. But anything that requires anything more than that, I think as a kid you get really frustrated and you start to lose the bits, don't you? Because you're just not that interested. Where mine was in pristine condition. Like I was like obsessed by like Lego bits would be all over the house. Right? I didn't know where they were, or other stuff. But the magic box was nobody could touch it, nobody could go near it. That had to go underneath my bed. That was special for me. So yeah, so I sort of did it very early on, and then also when I got to like as a teenager, so that stage where I thought it might impress girls, and then realised that it don't matter how good you are at card tricks, they're always going to go for the football. Right?
Yeah.
When I got to that age, like I started like spending so much time on it that I was in deep then. That was it. As soon as you go past that threshold of spending so much time on something and seeing how much better you could get at something, like I was in it forever. I knew that there was no way out at that stage, so I might as well just go full tilt and try and do it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, my dad did the thumb trick. It does let your thumbs come off. And I was always like, "Oh, let me hold it then. Let me hold it." He's like, "No. If you can't hold this." So just reattach that. There we go. There you go.
Good trick. I still do the thumb trick for nephews and nieces. There you go. Look at that. What?
I'll be honest, I still to this day can't work out how the hell people do that. I've never been able to work it out.
Really? Oh, Jamie.
Sheltered.
Bless you, my friend.
Obviously, you've just said the way your love of magic came from, but you're not just a magician. As you said, you do comedy, mate. Where did that love of performance come from? Were you like a dramatic kid, or was it people in your family from the world of entertainment, or was it just who you are?
Yeah, no. My family are very unsure business. Like they couldn't be further away. Builders and and all that sort of stuff. So. Like, yeah, I don't know really. I think I tried all the different styles when I was a kid. So I think I tried all the, like at one point I had a dicky bow tie and I was producing doves, like from handkerchiefs with classical music. And because I'd seen somebody do it on the telly, like a Las Vegas act, I thought, he looks cool AF, right? He's the guy that I want to be, right? And of course, it's not quite the same. Like 15-year-old kid from Hull, like sort of. I haven't quite got that swagger, the sophistication. So it looks a bit ridiculous. Baggy suit of my dad's, and then I tried doing like serious mind reading stuff, and then like another bit. And then as you get a bit older, you kind of realize, you go, oh, the thing when people really connect. And I think probably I started showing like my mates at sixth form and stuff like that, and then sort of going, oh yeah, here's a trick. And then that would really connect with them somehow more than maybe the other things I was doing. And then you kind of, I think what happens is people just prefer it when you're being you doing the magic rather than trying to put on a character or put on something else. And then I would have this guilt as well because like, let's say the thumb trick, right? Like Jamie, I don't want to spoil this for you. No, do you know what? I'm going to spoil it for you. Right?
It's about time I learned. I think I'm old enough.
I think I don't normally give away any secrets, right? But I think even the magic circle will allow me to give away the thumb trick, right? So the thumb trick, and I'm going to try and describe this on a podcast without. This is podcast as well, not just visual, right?
It's visual and podcast, yeah. So.
Yeah,
it's both, right? So for listeners, I would suggest go to YouTube for this. It's quite difficult to. So what you do is you have to sort of fold one thumb in half, and you put your other thumb out, and then you put them together to make it look like one thumb, but you can see a join in the middle. So then what you have to do with one hand is cover up the middle join, so it still looks like you've got the same thumb like this. Right, and then it looks like you can separate the thumb, but then you can do a bit where you very quickly do this. And your thumb's still attached, right? Ta-da! And that's good. And why did I start talking about that? What's the question for?
What did you ask, Jane?
Remember where performance came from, the love of performance.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it, right. So doing the comedy and stuff like that with it. So what would happen is, let's say I did that trick. I would feel, and if like let's say that was a really good trick, right? But let's say I did it, people would go, "What? That's crazy." I'd feel a bit of guilt on that because I knew I just folded my thumbs up, right? So I feel a bit of guilt about it. So what happened is I thought if I make a joke about it afterwards, so let's say I do like a really difficult card thing, so I'm going to spin a card out now, and something like this. Oh, spin a card out, and it's the Jack of Spades. And I go, was that your card? No. What was it? The Queen of Diamonds. And it turns into the Queen of Diamonds like this. And I then people would be amazed, but I'd have to say something like, "Oh, I spent a lot of time on my own." Right? and try and sort of undercut it or something like that, just because I feel a bit guilty that I know the secret. So then if you say something funny, people don't just think you're taking yourself too seriously. And then that sort of developed. So then now almost everything I do is with comedy. So it just
I love the fact it came from the fact you felt guilty knowing how to do it.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? Where some magicians, they do a trick and they think they're absolutely brilliant. You're like, yeah, I'm great. And you can see it in their face. Like, they'll do a trick like this, right? So they'll take a playing card and they'll go, "Was that not your card? Check this." And you go, "You're not great. You know you did that, right? You're not a wizard. Right? You're not a real wizard. You practiced that. You spent hours practicing that in your bedroom. So don't tell me that you are really magic, right? And I'll tell you, I think Penn and Teller are really good at this. I think they're really good at like not patronising the audience. Like, they're really smart, aren't they? Yeah. So they'll do tricks, but say to the audience like, "This is, you might think it's done like this, or this is how it's done, or whatever." But then there's like a trick at the end of it. But they don't patronise the audience they never say they're real magicians. They just say, "Look, we do tricks.
Yeah.
And there's a method to this trick, and hopefully you won't see what the method is, but here's a method that it isn't." Or you might think it's a bit of string, but it's not. Right? And then you go, "Is it a bit of string?" There's a great one actually where they do say there's a floating ball, and they go, "This is all done with a bit of string." Right? And you go, "Right." And then you watch it and you go, "Wait, it can't be. It can't be a bit of string." But it's so brilliant because they told you how it's done. And then you convince yourself it's not done like that. Do you know what I mean? That's really good, isn't it? I think that's excellent.
They're lying to us. No, I refuse to believe it.
Yeah, you go, "No, I think it's real magic, actually." So I think I'm lying. I think it's real magic.
It just shoots electric out of his hands like, "Oh my God, what the hell did that come from?" But I think it's a hell of a talent to be able to do magic and comedy in one routine. I mean, again, I go back to the persistence and the concentration doing magic. But then you've got to, because I imagine you make a routine up, like you said, you do a joke here and there, whatever else. But like to actually remember the routine and how to do the tricks at the same time, like a jack of all trades.
Master of none. Yes.
Yeah.
That's never a compliment, is it? When somebody says "master of all trades," no, that's
All right.
Sorry, jack of all trades, not master of all trades. No, it is both, and it is difficult, and often on the comedy circuit, especially, I think either comedy magicians, are either that funny or that good at magic. So that's often what happens is they're usually sort of pretty bad at both, because what happens is they're using the comedy magic as a sort of crutch, and then because they're doing comedy magic, it's all a bit naff, and the jokes aren't that good to go with it. That's what normally happens. But and I think people think of like Tommy Cooper or something like that, don't they, when they think of comedy magic. They kind of go, "Oh yeah, the tricks are a bit stupid." Although he was actually pretty funny. So I mean, pretty funny. It's like hilarious, wasn't he? He was excellent. He was right. It was pretty funny. No Alan Hudson, but do you know what I mean? It's pretty funny, Cooper. But a lot of them are sort of bad at both. And one thing I really try to do is make the magic strong, like really strong tricks, and then the comedy really funny to go with it. And that is hard. And one thing that's really difficult is to not tread over one bit with the other bit. So, so if I do change a card and then do a gag at the end of it, I can't do that at the same time. I have to kind of let that amazement sink in a little bit first, and then I can do a funny bit. Because this is like getting technical now, but you can't have two emotions going on at the same time successfully. So you can't laugh and be amazed at the exact same time because your brain doesn't know how to react with that. It doesn't know how to process it. So you can be, you can do a trick. You can go and do a trick and be amazed, and then I can wait a couple of beats and then do a funny line about it, and then you can go ha 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 ha. But you can't do that at the same time. So you can't. Does that make sense? You can't do the actual magic trick and do a joke at the same point. Otherwise, people don't know how to react to it. So the skill is trying to balance it all out to do the funny bits when that's relevant, and then sometimes just stop and sometimes let that magic take place. So otherwise, it's not amazing. If you tread all over it with jokes, it's not amazing, and people don't know whether to be amazed or just laugh anyway. And
I wonder what that sort of emotion would look like. Like,
yeah.
It's just a bit of a weird, but you're also married to a magician. I know she wasn't a magician previous, but obviously I imagine you basically. I take it she asked how to do things. Like, I watched her Penn and Teller skit, and she talked about how my brain's gone shit. Come on. Oh, she helped you set up and that sort of thing. Sorry, that took a second. And then obviously wanted to know how things were done. So living together, especially over lockdown, must have been interesting. Like trying things out on each other and that sort of thing.
Yeah, so that's what happened to she basically started setting up she started coming to my gigs, and then I said, oh look, can you set this trick up for me? And I went, well, I'll show you what it's done, right? You do this and you do this. And she went, oh yeah, right, fine. And then it got to a point where she would just do it automatically. I didn't even have to ask her anymore. She said, oh, I'll set all this stuff up for you. Went, oh, that's good. And then she started going, oh, I found a way of doing this trick. So you do it like this. I thought if you do it like this, it could be quite good. And I go, yeah, it could be quite good. Yeah, what you do? And then this is over like a sort of year or two. And then it's like, oh, have you ever thought about doing it this way? And doing that. And then eventually she said, she started picking up some tricks that she could just show family and friends, because they all knew she was going out with this magician. And they'd always say, oh, have you learned any tricks yet? And she said, oh, I just want to be able to surprise them at, sometime, and just go, oh yeah, I can do this, and then do something amazing. And she picked it up really quickly, right? She was really good at it. Some of the stuff that actually took me longer to learn, again, quite annoyingly, took her, she got it sort of down in a couple of weeks. Something that took me months. That's annoying. And then she started it was a sort of natural thing, really. I was doing it, and then she started doing gigs as well. And then in lockdown, she was doing Zoom shows as well. So so she got onto the sort of the Zoom thing, and I was doing it. And also we'd sort of help each other out with technical things, because there's music and other stuff going on, just setting things up. Especially if you're doing like 10 shows in a day, sometimes you would do a show, you just want to leave the room for a bit, and then at least you'd be able to come in and set all cards up and all the different bits of things I've got going on. So like that. And then now, for the first time, we're doing a show together at the Edinburgh Fringe this year, and which is called Married at First Sight.
Nice.
Nice. Like sleight of hand. See what we did there.
Very
And she thought that, actually. She's happy with that. And the double act called Hudson and Hudson, which I quite like, because I don't think I've ever seen a double act where they've had the same surname.
No.
It's sort of like Morecambe and Wise and stuff like that. But never like the same one, like French and Saunders or whatever, but never like Smith and Smith, or so we just thought it was a funny idea to call ourselves Hudson and Hudson, rather than Alan and Cat or something. So doing that at the Edinburgh Festival this year. So that's going to be fun. So we started working together, doing a double act for the first time. So see what happens.
Awesome.
And on the poster, and this is genuine, it says this will either lead to fame and fortune or divorce. And never has a true word been said. It's just now we're starting rehearsing. I've come to realise that,
I could only imagine living with a magician must be a nightmare. So the two of it's like, where's the car keys? Ta-da! Like, shit like that at each other all fucking day. Just like,
well, I do it. I do it to her. She never does it to me. So because she had it first with me. Like, so before she sort of learned the tricks, I would do things like, again, it's a visual thing. I'd sort of take a coin or something. I go, oh, do you want the thing? There you go. Just take. I go, whoa, it's gone. Right. I go, oh, it's back, and all this, and then so she would get annoyed with it, and then, but I found it funny how annoyed she got. But then when she managed to sort of learn all the things, she did it a couple of times, but then she doesn't really do tricks on because she remembers how annoying it is. But yeah, the one thing I do is in the middle of box sets. So we're watching Succession, right? And halfway through, I'll think of something. I'll pause it and go, what does this look like? And then I'll take a pen or something and go, and sort of make the pen disappear or something like that, and bring it back again. I go, does that look good? Does that look good? I just thought that. Does that look good? And I go, yeah, I suppose. Can we carry on watching this now? Because I go, oh yeah. So I can be the annoying one, I think.
How do you even come up with your ideas for your performances? I mean, we'll get on to the Penn and Teller part, but like, how do you come up with ideas like that? I mean, that's insane.
It's really hard actually. It's like comedians, like going, how do you think of your routines? And you go, just something someday. I think it's always on your mind. I think that's one thing. So I'm always sort of, my brain is open to it. Go, how do I, what's a new trick I can come up with? And at the moment, the process is this. So because we've got this new Edinburgh show, we're saying Married at First Sight. What we're doing at the moment is we're going, because we don't just want to do a magic show where it's like I do a trick and then she does a trick and then I do a trick. We want it to very, very much a double act. And also, we think we've got this unique thing where we're married and both kind of funny magicians. So maybe it's something to do with the fact that we live together. And so maybe it's things that we might have done at home or something like that. So you go, right, what's the thing that we might do at home? Like what's, make the tea, put a duvet on, like, eat, like have a drink of wine, like watch TV. I don't know, just things like that. And you go, right, what's something that we've done in the past, or what little games that we play, and then try and sort of come up with tricks like that. So, yeah, like that's the thing that we're doing at the moment. We just sort of brainstorm and go, what are things that we could do? Like, what are things that we do already at home? Like, so one of is playing this game, right? So we play a sort of stupid game where you go, which one of us do you reckon would? And then you ask a question, and then we sort of say, no, that's more like me, more like you, and go, I wonder if that could be a trick somehow, right? And then so we just forming. This is on my mind because we're just forming this one today. So. To go, right, how could that be a trick? And I go, maybe we get a couple up and we ask them a question, like, who'd be more likely to leave a bigger tip at a restaurant or something? And then Kat predicts the answers that they're going to come up with. So maybe they say me and they say me, because maybe a couple will both think that they're the best tipper, or the other way around. And then Kat will have predicted that it's going to be that way around, that he would say that and she would say that. So like a sort of Mr. and Mrs. type game, but with a magic element. Yeah, like that sort of thing. And you go, oh, that's something we're sort of thinking about today. So that may or may not be in the Edinburgh show, it may or may not make the cut. But that's one way that we're doing it at the moment, just kind of thinking, what do we do already and how can we make that into a trick? Not that I ever wrapped myself up in cling film before I came up with the cling film trick, but for Penn and Teller. that was that was a different thing. Yeah.
I mean, that was incredible, to be fair. But like, I was going off on the fact that obviously magic has evolved so much since the days of rabbit out of the hat, you know, and like, oh, they've got this in my sleeve. There's a dove. That's, you know, now obviously so much has been done. It's like, what can you do next that people haven't seen yet to be amazed by?
Yeah, and it's tough because, you know, the internet, it's all out there, right? So, you know, anything magically now is quite hard to do that. So I think one thing that I've got is I can make it funny. So therefore, it doesn't have to be bigger and better than everything else. As long as it's funny and entertaining, you know, it can still be a card trick where you pick a card and I tell you what the card is. But if that's done in a slightly different way and it's still amusing and funny and it's got a relevance to it, that can still be good. So it doesn't have to be that you get a card picked and then it's, you know, projected onto the Eiffel Tower or something, you know, where it's like bigger and better than whatever anybody else has done before. It's, you know, or the moon is in the shape of it, you know, or something. Like you go, look, if I have a heart, I've done that. Look up. Which would be a good trick, to be fair. Write that down.
That'd be great, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't have to be bigger and better than everything else that's gone before it. It could just be a good trick as long as it's like relevant. But yeah, magicians have come a long way since the rabbits and top hats. But the reason that came about is because at the time, gents were wearing top hats. So you know now, so because that's why at the time that's what they're wearing. So now, you know, so Tom, if you took your cap off and, you know, produce like a, you know, was it a panda on it? Is it?
It is. It's called a drip panda. It's a stay cozy hat. So
right. So, but if you took your hat off and pulled a panda out of it,
Very small panda.
right? That'd be cool, right? That'd be that'd be the trick. So, but it's the same as the rabbit from the hat, but it's just, you know, that was still modern, but it's just using new things. Yeah, so as long as you don't, like, it used to be the sort of silk handkerchiefs, but again, all the gents would have silk hankies, wouldn't they, in the top pockets and stuff like that. So it was all, and what happened is magicians didn't really catch up until about 20 years ago. I think even in the 80s and 90s, they were still dressed like 100 years ago, and then it was people that did. It was really bad, you know? and then you know, you go to Vegas still, like in the 2000s, and they're still dressing like they're in the 70s, and all the music was, you know, sort of 70s or 80s sort of ballad, you know, a bit of that sort of, you know, the final countdown sort of thing, and all that sort of, you know, business. But now they've caught up. You know, people like David Blaine just goes on t-shirt, jeans, does no fanfare. He just goes in a big glass of water and like holds his breath for 10 minutes, and it's amazing. It's so brilliant, and it's not glitz or glamour, and he's taken all that away, and it just does this incredible show. So, yeah, I think magicians are caught up to it, really.
yeah, I mean, or he sits in a glass box above the Thames and doesn't eat, and they made an actual channel for it where you could just watch it 24/7.
Yeah, not his best one, that one, was it? Because what he didn't think about was the British public. So that was his big mistake. There, he'd thought about everything else. Also, he must have been training for like months and months and months. And thought I thought of every single detail of this. The one thing he didn't know was we're a bit different to Americans. So like everyone was like, do you remember everyone was like flying up like hamburgers outside of it and like flying past the box and stuff like that. Yeah.
God, I forgot all about that. Jesus. What on earth went through his mind when he decided to do that? I'd love to know, because that just doesn't sound like a good time.
Yeah, but he's really good at crossing the lines. Like, so he sort of blurs these lines between. In fact, his show was called Real or Magic, and so what he's really good at is blaring this sort of thing, going. And I don't know. I know how most magicians do their tricks, right? So you see a trick like the Penn and Teller thing. They will know how most of them are done, and every now and again there's a bit that fools them, and you go, "How did you do that? Didn't see that coming up. Oh, I thought it was going to be this, but it's not that." with David Blaine, he's got this strange thing where I don't even know if what he's doing is real or magic a lot of the time. I can't work it out. I think a lot of it is a trick, but then I can't work the trick out because now the tricks are done. And I think, well, the only way he can be doing that is real. So even I go, I don't know what's going on. Yeah.
I love that. That must be quite nice though, to be able to be tricked yourself. You're like, I know all this and I can't work out how he did that. I'm still a fan.
Yeah, it is because if I see another magician and they just do a trick and they just go, here's a playing card, right, and take a playing card, turns into another playing card, and they just do that. I go, oh, so what? Like, I've seen that a million times, and I know it's done, and I don't care. But if somebody does it in either a really entertaining way or has got like a really new good premise on it, or there's a spin on it somehow, I can still be entertained by a simple trick. So that's fine. But what someone like David Blaine does is take those tricks and not only makes it sort of entertaining and weird and stuff like that, but also I don't know how it's done. So yeah, with most tricks I do know how they're done, and I'll only enjoy it if it's got like a new presentation or something like it. But Blaine's like in a different league really. He's quite a little bit underrated, I think. Like I don't think the public appreciate how brilliant he is. But yeah, he's one of the best really.
So, as we said in the intro, we alluded to a few times now, you've appeared on TV a fair few times in your career. You got a successful virtual magic show, but how did you get your foot in the door, so to speak, to get your name out there, to get these opportunities?
So, one, I moved to London. That was one thing, because you mentioned earlier in your introduction about Sooty, right? So I was on the Sooty show when I was younger because I met Richard Cadell, who took over Sooty for when there was started off with Harry Corbett, went into Matthew Corbett, and then Richard Cadell was like the next in line, right? So I don't know if Matthew had any kids, but if they did, they didn't want to do it. But anyway, they hired Richard, and Richard is a magician. He's an illusionist. So I knew him from the magic world, and then he took over Sooty, and we went, oh, this is great. We know the guy that does Sooty on TV now. This is so funny, like that we know. And then we was at a thing one day, a magic convention, because it's like magic meetups. And then he said, I was talking about Sooty for ages, going, oh God, it's so brilliant what you're doing, it's amazing. And then he went, do you want to be on it? I went, what do you mean do I want to be on it? Of course I want to be on it. That's like, yeah. And he went, why don't you come down? And it was really good. Like, so Art Attack were doing in the studio next door, Neil Buchanan and Art Attack. They were doing their kids show, and then Sooty was doing their show in their room. And so I had a peep in at the Art Attack studio, massive kids TV show at the time. Walked into the Sooty thing. The stuff I saw on the Sooty thing was absolutely destroyed me. So I don't know if this is giving away any secrets. If you want to, I don't know if you want to hear this or not, but I went in. There was a trestle table with about 20 Sooties on them. 20 sweeps. Like, some of them had the legs off. Some of them were decapitated. Some of them were, because of course they used them for all the different things. Some of them were just like legs. So sometimes you just see like a leg running shot, don't you? Right? And so of course they just need some legs. I always thought there was just one Sooty, one sweep. And why wouldn't you think that? Because you only ever see one. But then you think about the TV show, sometimes weird things happen to the puppets. Like, they get drenched, whatever. They can't just dry it out and wait for the next one. They're filming, they're on a tight schedule, they just get another one, don't they? Anyway, so that was the first thing. I went in and went, what? It's like a horror show. It was like a puppet horror show. Honestly, this tale was like, oh my God, I can't believe this. There is a main one that Richard uses all the time. Like, there's like one that he uses, but they constantly get updated because they have to look new and fresh. They can't, you can't be using one that's like 60 years old. Imagine how grubby and horrible that would be, just fall into bits. The fabric falling off it and stuff.
His eye pops out.
Yeah, that'd scare the kids, wouldn't it? So, hey, kids, I go, oh, Right.
Zombie City.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good, would it? So I did that. So and then I got to throw a custard pie in his face. Anyway, that was such an experience. I got to throw a custard pie in Richard's face, and that was all good. But he told me at the time, he said, if I want to do more TV things, really, you've got to move to London and do it there. And I went, oh, why can't I just live in Hull and do it? He said, because they might not hire you. They might just, if you're not around these people, like you can do it, but it's a lot harder, right? So what I did is I moved to London for a bit. I started hanging around the magic circle, got to know lots of people. And when opportunities come up, like people often just choose somebody they've seen the week before or that they've been speaking to recently. So when these magic shows, they ask for like an advisor to help them with the magic element. They say, who do you know that can come and do it? They don't go, what's this bloke in Hull 10 years ago? That I want to. They kind of go, oh, who do I know? And they start thinking about people that are on their radar. And then so it was basically that. So yeah, I moved to London. That was it.
Fair play.
Yeah.
So obviously, talking about TV and stuff like that, and Britain's Got Talent, except when was the first time you actually appeared on TV? Was it the Sooty Show or was there something else?
I did like a couple of little things before that. So I was on like the Holiday Show with Toya Wilcox, BBC One. That was good. That was one of the first things I did, and then the Sooty Show, and then did like a few little bits like that. But I think the first big one was 2011, which was Foolers. But it was in the UK, the Penn and Teller Foolers Show, and that was when it was in the UK. And that was the thing. I'd moved to London in 2010. 2011, I got a first TV spot doing this thing. So that was good. And it was a show where you had to try and fool Penn and Teller. I went on and tried to fool them, didn't fool them. But there's a long story around that. But this podcast ain't long enough for that.
That sounds juicy.
I still got beef. I think I fooled them. Is there's a much longer story, but I met them a few days before with another trick because I was told I wasn't going to be on the show, and I did a trick for them in a rehearsal thing. I then fooled them with that trick, and then they said, well, maybe you can come and do this trick on the show. And then there was a big argument, and then they said I couldn't do it, and then they said come and watch it. But we're going to do another show, so be on that one instead. And so it's always a long thing. But anyway, I went on this other show with another trick, and it didn't fool them. That was my first one. And then the next one after that was quite a few years after. It was in 2016. That was The Next Great Magician. There was a few little things in between there, but these are like the big ITV shows or whatever. These are big ones. The Next Great Magician, again, that was just being around, I think, just trying to being known in the magic world. So when magicians that are advising for this show go, who can we get to come and do it? Hopefully your name's in that mix. Also by having original tricks and different things. Because if you are just doing the same tricks that everybody else is doing, why get? They wouldn't get me to come and do the thumb trick, right? They wouldn't get me to come and do that because they know lots of other people can do that and probably better. Right, so you go, but you go, hey, Alan's got that trick where he puts a bag on his head and then he pops these balloons, somebody pops these balloons and he knows which balloons it's popped and it's kind of funny and interesting and it looks a bit different. You go, well, book him for the show because it looks different to what everybody else is doing. So by having different stuff, that was the other thing that happened. And BGT was in 2020. Yeah, 2020. And then and I only did that really because my wife wanted to do it, and I said, I don't really want to do it. I've never they asked me loads before, like almost every year, do you want to come do it? And I always said no. And then Kat said, should we do it? So I went, yeah, well, we've got nothing to lose now, really. It's like, it's not as popular as it was, is it? Let's be honest. Not as many people are watching it anymore, are they? And also, do you know what happened is, right? They used to be really nasty to magicians on that show. Simon Cowell used to hate magicians, and very early on they would show magicians going badly, even if they hadn't gone badly in real life. They used to edit it and make it look like they'd gone pretty bad, and that was really bad. And so a lot of professional magicians shied away from it. And then over a couple of years, some magicians went on and they decided they really liked magic, and it got really good ratings. And when it went on YouTube, it was getting the biggest number of hits. All about the dollar, right? All about the dollar. And then since then, Simon Cowell has realised that he absolutely loves magic. He's had a change of heart. I don't know why, but he's now decided he absolutely loves magic and it's the best thing ever. And so now, if you watch the show, there's loads of magicians on. About 2 years ago, there were 10 magicians in semi-finals, I think. And in the final 10 acts, 5 of them were magicians, which is too much.
Agreed.
Too much.
Yeah.
And I like magic. I think it's too much. But,
what you're saying about Simon Cowell makes sense, though, because he looked so unimpressed when you were. All the other three were like, "Oh my god, that was amazing." He was like, "No."
Yeah. Well, do you know what it is? So one thing that Simon Cowell does is he wants to believe magic is real, apparently. So anytime that you say you're a comedy magician, he turns off. And I made the mistake of going on and saying, because I've got this opening gag, which is I say, I'm a comedy magician, and I did it because my parents used to do it, comedy magic. You see, my mum, she used to tell all these funny jokes, and my dad, he disappeared when I was 9. Right. That's the joke.
Right.
So, right. And that sets up my act, right? That gags like that kind of set it up. They go, okay, well, he doesn't take himself too seriously, and also he's told us he's a comedy magician, and we kind of get it, right? That's it. But he switched off as soon as I said the word comedy magician, and I know this because Ant and Dec told me afterwards. So they said, so you know that bit where you kind of speak to Ant and Dec at the side.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I went to speak to them quite a bit afterwards, and they were brilliant. And they said, "Oh, you know what?" Said the mistake you made was you said you're a comedy magician. Said as soon as you said that, Simon switched off because he's done it to every single comedy magician act that's gone on over the last couple of years. He said if you'd just gone on and said I'm a magician, and then done your act, and then he would have gone, "Hey, I thought it was amazing, but also we like you. You're kind of quite funny as well with it." As if he's almost realised this, right? But because he's got this thing in his head about he doesn't like comedy magicians, as soon as I said that, he switched off. And so Ant and Dec were telling me this, and I said to one of them, I said, "Yeah, I mean, I could have probably done with this information about 20 minutes ago, to be honest." and then the other one's going, "He's fucked you over." Am I allowed to say? He's gone, he's fucked you over.
You'd think for someone that is a talent scout and looks at the talent people could do, he wouldn't really do that and judge things by the name of your act, really, would you? But there we go.
Yeah, I think if it's out and out comedy, so there was a magician that sort of produced these fake doves, and he was pretending to coo at them, and he was so ridiculous. He looked like a sort of 70s Las Vegas style magician, but he knew what he was doing. He knew he looked ridiculous, and his act was a ridiculous act. So I think Simon Cowell liked that because he knew that there was no real magic taking place in it. But I think if he thinks it's magic, he wants it just to be magic. He doesn't want to mix it. So yeah, he basically wants to think you are a real wizard. Don't be saying you're a comedy magic. Don't be diluting it. So yeah.
Can we just step back a little bit and go back to the next greatest magician? Because obviously, on that, you mentioned the bag over the head and the balloons. Obviously, was with Tom Parker from The Wanted, who obviously sadly is no longer with us anymore. Which is,
of course, yeah.
Yeah. So when I watched it, I was like, "Oh my god!" So that obviously now must be one of your biggest videos because obviously people would have flocked back to that.
No, it's like the Foolers one is the biggest one, but yeah, I mean it's one that for me when I did it, it was the best thing I'd done on TV. It was better than the Foolers thing that I'd done earlier, and it's one of the things I'm most proud of, that trick, because it's just got I've been doing that trick a long time, and I managed to capture it. And Tom Parker was actually so brilliant at doing it. He was such a laugh, because I did these. I genuinely asked for. They said, "Who do you want to help?" with this trick, and I said Harry Styles because I thought who's the biggest person at the moment on Twitter and all that stuff, and if he just tweets about it, goes, I did this thing with Alan Hudson, I thought that could go well, right? And then they went, yeah, we can't get Harry Styles, and I went, okay, fine. Any of the other members of One Direction will be fine, right? And they went, yeah, they're not going to do it. I went, oh, okay. And I thought, who else is sort of popular? Like, and I named a few other people. And then on the day, they said, so we'll get you someone. And then on the day, they said, we've got you Tom Parker. And I went, great. Who's that? It's Tom Parker? Like, I went, from The Wanted. I went, I heard of The Wanted. What do they sing? And I was playing this. I went, oh, right, yeah, I know them. I thought, oh, this is going to be like, I don't even know who he is. But like, I met him. He was so good. It was good. Honestly, it's anything you want to me. Like, as long as it's, as long as you're not being like really rude and disrespectful, but you can play with me, do whatever you want. So when I put the bag on his head, I was doing these things, and then he popped 2 balloons, and then I said I said out loud, I told him I wanted Harry Styles. Right, and he just I felt about laughing at that. Right, he was so good. He was so giving. Because some people might have been a bit whatever of that, but he was. Yeah, he and afterwards he was good. Oh, that's brilliant. Oh, I love that. I loved it. He was so good. So that's And when was it about a year or 2 ago that Tom Parker died?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's not very long. It's not very long ago.
Not very long ago, and I just think, I watched it again actually. I wasn't a big mate of it. It's like we only met on this one day.
But still, it's quite like an iconic thing now, isn't it? Really, because obviously sadly he's no longer with us anymore. So
yeah, and for me, I've always got that, and it's always been on my website, and it's always I think I show people, if they go, what sort of thing do you do? I go, oh, watch this one because I think it's one, a really good one. So I've always sort of gone, oh, what's this one with Tom Parker?
Yeah, I mean, it was great. He went rogue, didn't he? He lost his mind. He went start just like popping away. You're like, whoa, hang on.
Yeah, I think he was just excited. He was just, he said he loved magic, and he's just like excited to be up. And he'd been watching the other tricks as well beforehand, and he was like, he was really into because there's like sort of 4 magicians on, I think, and so he'd been watching the others, and he was really excited by them, and then he was just really keen to get up. So you can see actually he's like when he gets so he can't wait to see what he's going to do, and then turns out it's just this guy putting a bag on his head. So
a gift bag, not just a normal bag, a gift bag.
Yeah, a gift bag. Yeah, a pink gift bag. Yeah,
brilliant. So
I suppose we should talk about the big one, shouldn't we? Really, we should go on to the pennant, and obviously you've got the trophy right behind you. I mean,
right here. Don't
did it
if you
feel?
noticed that.
No, I hadn't noticed a big F you behind you.
I have to explain this in my corporate things. So when I'm doing Zoom corporate things, for companies, I do point it out, and I realise it does just look like it says F you. So I have to say straight away. I do it as a gag. I say, oh, by the way, I've just got this. The Foolers, the trophy that I won for Fool Penn Teller live, and one, I get to point it out, but also I don't want the boss of the company going, why has got a thing saying F you, but behind him. So that was a crazy one. So me and Pat did it. We went out to Vegas last year, I think it was. I think it was a year before it was actually shown. So that was really hard, actually. So we filmed it in May, and I think it went out in February this year. So basically, I had to go a full year without telling anyone. That was tough. Because one of the things is you have to sign this thing, and you're not allowed to tell anyone how it's gone. You're not even allowed to tell the other magicians in the room that you're filming with how it went. So. Obviously can you? But good. Not telling you. Obviously.
What's that under your jacket? Nothing.
Why my suitcase? I don't know. So that was a year ago, and I genuinely didn't think I was going to fool them. So I just wanted to go on with this trick that I'd come up with, this cling film wrapping up trick. That was going to be something else at first, and then you were saying earlier, how did you come up with your ideas? That was going to be a thing where I thought about a pickpocketing routine where I could maybe get someone's credit card, and I had this idea, thought, oh, how would you not be pickpocketed? And I think I've seen a sign in London, right? How would you not be pickpocketed, right? Or ways to do it. And I thought, what if you wrapped up your credit card in cling film and then put it in your wallet and then wrap that up in cling film, and then not only that'd be really hard to get out, and then got cling film and wrapped up around your body. That'd be really hard. It's just a stupid idea going, you could do that, but then you could do that, but then you could do that and go stupidly crazy with it. And then I thought, I'll wrap somebody up, and then I'll go like this, and maybe still get the credit card out, right, and try and sort of pick it out. And they go, oh, how do you do that? Because it was all wrapped up. So then a silly trick becomes this amazing thing. But then I thought, well, I didn't like the idea of some of the elements of it. I thought it's funnier if I get wrapped up, so somebody wraps me up instead, and then I'm in this sort of stupid position. And then I thought, well, if it's my credit card, that's not as impressive, because I could just have another credit card the same, or whatever. And I thought, well, maybe it's something that's signed, and then obviously it comes to playing cards, because magicians, inevitably go to playing cards at some point and think, oh, that's a good idea. And I don't really do any other card tricks in my stage show, so I thought, I've only had one card trick. And then, it progressed into this thing. And it was, to me, always a fun thing that magicians enjoyed, and the public love it, because it's this big spray of playing cards, and it's just sort of, it's a trick they've not seen before. So it's a funny thing to see. And then I thought, well, I'll go and do it on Penn and Teller, because you get to do it on a shiny floor TV show, and they never really give away how the trick is done. At the end, they might say something occurred. They might go, well, so I'll tell you who would like that, Mr. Hofzinser. Do you think Mr. Hofzinser would like that? And you go, yeah, how it's done, right? Because it'll be a reference to like an old magician that has done something similar, or like a move or something like that, and then you know that they know, right? So once they say those words, you kind of go, no, yeah, got me. And they were saying the words, going, hey, we think you know what's, how you did it. And I went, oh yeah, here we go. And then they said, yeah, we think what you did is you palmed the card. And already I went, bingo. Here we go. They've shut out here straight away. And I went, okay. And I was just nodding along again, right. And they go, yeah, then what we think you do is you raise your hand up, and I was nodding, going, yeah, go on, carry on. Here's enough rope. If you want it, join any more rope, hang yourself with. Have a load more. Go on. And then what you do is you lift up your hand and you position it into place. And then I said, no, I did not do that. And they said, well, your other hand, and it's your left hand. And then I went, no, I did not do that. And I did then think they might go, or this, right, with the other thing that I actually did do. And they didn't do that. And they went, in that case, nothing, you fooled us. I went, what? Like, and you can see my reaction on the show. Really? You're not going to go for the other thing that it was. You're not going to say that, because I just thought they would know it. I honestly thought they would. There's like little bits in it, and I just thought, oh, they'll kind of know. You can smell it out as a magician quite often. You have a sense of what's going on, and for some reason it just flew past them. They didn't know. Yeah. And actually, I do show my hands empty, but they trim out little bits in the TV show to make it a tight edit. So one thing that you can't actually see is when I put the deck of cards down, I do show my hands. But they must have forgotten that bit, because they thought I sort of palmed this card. They thought I'd still sort of, got this card and sort of hid it in my sort of hand somehow, like this, and sort of, moved it up into place. But there is a bit where I'd sort of put them down and gone like this to show it's not there, because I was never trying to fool them like that. I was never trying to sort of make them think I was doing one thing. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because that is a way to fool them, actually. You can fool them with magic methods. So you can kind of go, oh, look, I'm going to take this card, and I was going to palm it. and then it's not really palmed. It's actually like that, and then so you can make them think you've done something. Do you know what I mean? You can go, oh yeah, okay, and hold your hand in a strange position that only magicians hold their hands in, and make them think that you're doing something. But I never tried to do that. I just did the trick as it is, and then I couldn't believe it. But yeah, I had to wait a year before it was on.
That's not. I love what you were saying beforehand. The look on your face when they went full, so you were just like, really?
Yeah. That all genuine, because I was like, I can't believe this. And then quite annoyingly, actually, the one we thought Kat. So my wife was filmed back to back, so we did mine, she did hers. We both of us thought that hers would fool them, and mine wouldn't. And it was actually the other way around. So then Kat went on, and hers unfortunately didn't fool them. And then that was like a bit of a took a shine off the day a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Because I was all prepared for it not to fool them. I thought Kat's would, and then it turned out that they managed to nail hers pretty much bang on. So it's her place, doesn't it? Shows her who's boss.
To bring that up in arguments, but which one fooled Penn and Teller? Well, you was it?
Yeah. Let's go in the new room, shall we? Just have a look at our trophy. See whose name's on that, shall we? Yeah.
Did they talk to you afterwards and like try and find out how you did it, or they literally just they don't want to know?
They don't want to know. They and also they're filming the next person because it's all TV studio time where we're not all hanging out afterwards and snorting coke in Vegas. Do you know what I mean? Getting limos and going to strip clubs. It's not all. It's what they film it during the daytime. You think it is, don't you? But it's not. It'd be a bit awkward with Kat with me, wouldn't it? Let's be honest. Doing all that. So like you film it at like 11 o'clock in the morning, and then Kat went on, and then they went, oh, thanks very much, and then you have to go out, and because you're not allowed to speak to the magicians to let them know how it's done, they're filming the next magician because they want the whole show wrapping up before all the crew have to go for their lunch. And then Alison, has to go for her scheduled 1 hour break as well, or whatever she gets. And then they're filming probably another show in the afternoon, like, or whatever. And then they've got like 4 more magicians to do because there's like maybe 12 or 16 episodes in the season. And they'll probably get the crew in and try and film it in as short space as possible. Like in this country, like they'll film The Chase or something, and they'll do like 3 or 4 episodes a day. So Bradley, when you see him, red-eyed, Bradley Walsh, red-eyed, and it's like it's on the 4th episode of the day. He's like, he doesn't know where he is. That's why that happens. Yeah, I do. They're brilliant. So they don't. You don't really have time to even chat to them afterwards. They kind of, you do for a moment. You kind of go, oh, good to meet you, and blah blah. And they go, oh, great trick, really loved it. Never seen anything like that before. And then he was saying, you know what? I think I was nearly there. If it hadn't have been that, I think I might have got you with the other thing. Like he was a bit annoyed about it. It was Penn. He was a bit annoyed. He was going, yeah. Well, I thought it was either that or that, and they actually want any of those things. But we just had to tell him. I went, oh well, we'll never know. We'll, So. And then by that, like the studio manager came on, the sort of floor manager, and went, Alan, can you come and do this? Get your picture taken, for publicity things, and can you sign for this and do this? And you need to go out there now and stuff like that. And go, okay, yeah. And they whisk you off to different rooms to do various things.
Crazy.
Yeah. The other thing that I've just done is I don't know if you know about this, but I've just done America's Got Talent as well.
I was going to ask. I saw a picture on your Twitter. I was going to ask what this was about.
Did you see it? I was going to say you would have seen a video. So if you've been watching YouTube things and gone down that, like, there's nothing on there. But yeah, I've just done that. That was crazy. So I just went out and did that. And the weird thing with that is, you don't know if you're going to be shown or not. I've got absolutely no idea whether, so I've got a good story that I went and did it, but it might never make television because they always massively overfilm these things. And then they work out who they're going to show on it. Because, they as they said to us on the day, they said, look, we get about 70,000 people asked to be on the show every year. We film about 200 of them. So you're down to the last 200 already. And out of that, we probably show less than half. So
Wow.
even if it goes, whatever happens today, like unless you get the golden buzzer, you don't know whether you're going to be shown. So spoiler alert, did not get the golden buzzer, right?
Bastard.
So yeah, so you don't know if you're going to be shown or not. So now it starts at like the end of May. When does this podcast go? Is this after
It's
that?
going out in near end of June.
End of June,
Yeah.
right? So I may well have been on it by then. So this might be a redundant story because I might have been on last week. Yeah. But at this point in time, which is before it started, yeah, I've got absolutely no idea whether they're going to make me look great, make me look bad, because I don't think they do that. They might not show it. They might show it for 10 seconds. You know, that I might one of those montage bits where they go, "Oh, it was a great day. We had some magicians on," and they just show me for a second, or our main feature bit. You know, that you just don't know.
Apologies. 9th of June, you're coming out, not the end of
9th
June.
of June. Okay. 9th.
Yeah.
Very exact. I like it.
So I was just
Hello,
working out in my
everyone.
head. Don't we?
Right. Hello, everyone in the future show on the 9th of June. Here we are on the 9th of June, right today.
Just going back to the cling film trick. Obviously, you did that on Britain's Got Talent. You did that on Penn and Teller. Is that sort of become your signature trick now? Because people are obviously going to know you for this, for being on like mainstream TV with it.
Yeah, it is. There's a couple of tricks I do. The balloons trick, the cling film trick. I've got another trick as well, which if you see me live, I often do that trick as well. And that's something I've pitched to do on America's Got Talent as another thing. So I won't say what it is, but I'll do another thing. But certainly with the cling film, people do kind of know me for doing that, and I do sometimes feel like I should do all brand new stuff when they see me live. But I think unlike a comedian, where once you've heard the jokes once, it's not as good the second time. I think with magic you can kind of still get away with it, because I know that I really enjoy to watch magic bits quite a few times. Like there's a cut-off point at some point, isn't it? Once you've seen it 20 times, you kind of go, yeah, I get it now. I've seen that trick. But if you've seen it once on the TV and then you go see it live, and I've got some different gags in it and some different bits that I wasn't allowed to say on telly, slightly ruder things or slightly punchier jokes that I'm allowed to say in a comedy club, then there's some new elements in it, and also you're going, oh, it looks the same live that it does on the TV. Yeah, so there's nothing cut out or anything, you know. So in fact, it's more amazing live, I think, than it is on the TV. It's because you know it's all legit and it's all real and it's happening right in front of you. So I don't know if people expect to see me do that or not, but they certainly get that.
I suppose the other thing
I
suppose the other thing you're saying then about like people, you can see the same trick, because with magic as well. You go, if I see it again, I'm gonna fucking work out how you did that. Right?
Yeah.
Perform for me, Magic Man. Let me work this one out. Then.
Yeah, because they go, well, I know what's going to happen, right? So you go, right, how does it get from there to there? And then you go, right, I'll watch for it this time. And then, of course, I still misdirect. So, like, hopefully the misdirection, you fall for it twice. Because if it's strong enough, you should... You know, I do that with other magicians. Even though I know how they're done, I still miss the bit that they're doing it. I know it's been done. I go, I missed that again. And I know he's just done it because I know it's done. But I know I've already missed it because the timing was so perfect.
That's amazing.
Hopefully.
There was a show back in 1997, 2009, called Breaking the Magician's Code. Do you remember this this show? Yeah, where I think people got quite angry about it at one point. That masked guy that was basically just going, these tricks, this is how they're done.
Yeah.
That must have absolutely... That must have really fucked the magic world massively for so long.
Yeah, it did actually, and it's like now it's like a bit of a joke, isn't it? That there was like the masked magician going on TV and doing these things. It seems a bit weird, especially with YouTube, Because let's be honest, you can type in almost any trick into YouTube and find out how it's done now. Like pretty much. Like if you really dig deep a little bit, like, it's not easy, but you can. Like you can't. Like some people do reveal videos of my tricks, and they don't even know how they're done. So that's good. There's a guy that's done a reveal thing of mine. He doesn't even know how it's done. So
I was going to say, there's one on there I
Like,
saw saying this is how he does a cling flip. I didn't watch it. I don't want to know, but I was like, as if someone's done this. Like,
yeah, well, you can watch it because you don't know it's done. Because it's not a trick that's like it's not a trick that's been released to the public, or do you know what I mean? If it's like a standard magician's trick or one that magicians sell to other magicians to perform, which they do sometimes. You know, so I've done a trick where I sold it to other magicians because I thought I don't really want to do it myself. It's not part of my act, but I think a lot of magicians like it. So I got it made up, and then hundreds of magicians bought it, and they do it in their acts, and that's great. And if it's that, then it's quite easy for them to find out it's done because they can pay the money, they can buy it, and then people on YouTube are idiots. They just put it on and say how it's done. I don't understand it. But the Master Magician was doing it on TV, and the difference with that is people were watching that. They weren't magicians, so they weren't wanting to know how it was done. It was pushed into their face. I know you could say like, well, they chose to watch it, but there was a lot less on TV then, and also it was just a casual. Like you might just flick onto Channel 4 on Sunday morning, like before Sunday brunch was on, 10 o'clock, whatever, and all of a sudden it's breaking the magician's code. All of a sudden this magician's on, doing all this hand thing, and then going, how did you do it? Let me show you. And you go, all right, I'm in. How did vanish that girl? How does the girl vanish? Right? And also you start watching it because it's intrinsically interesting. So how did they make this card disappear or whatever? And then you start watching these things, and then he does another trick, and you go, I don't know how he did that. And he goes, I'll tell you the secret. And you go, great, I'm still watching. I'll be back after the break. I'll carry on watching this. And so and the annoying thing was he was just kind of giving secrets away to everybody, regardless of whether people wanted to know or not. And once you know now, like watching YouTube, it's easy to get sucked into watching something online that's interesting. But when it was on TV, like it was even more so, it was getting millions of viewers. So and the people I really felt sorry for were the people that did the actual tricks that were on that show. So some things were so old, people didn't even do them anymore. But there was some tricks where maybe like a sawing a woman in half thing, right? So like the magician probably spent £2,000 on that prop, right? So it's maybe had to get it shipped over from America, paid all the import duties. It's part of his act, right? He's had to get a warehouse, right, or at least a shed, right, and a van to take it around in, right? But paid a lot of money for that, rehearsed it, and then wakes up one Sunday morning, and there's this guy with a mask on going, do you want to see how he does this trick? Here's how it's done. And imagine that magician going, what? I just paid £2,000. No. What?
You masked bastard!
Yeah, it was. Honestly, magicians ready to kill him. They were absolutely furious. But nowadays, it doesn't seem quite as bad, really. It's like, as I say, like, all tricks are getting revealed. But I think it's because you have to hunt them out. It's not kind of, yeah. Although, actually, there is another thing that if you see magicians on TikTok and stuff like that, and on Reels on Instagram, a lot of magicians will now just do a trick and show you how it's done.
Why?
Yeah. I don't know.
The YouTubers, like, unless you're an actual magician, how do we know they've got it right?
Yeah, well, exactly, yeah.
But is that how it's done? Like, are you sure? Like you say with your cling film one, like I have no clue. And like Jamie said, I don't want to know either. But I know you can't even reveal anything because obviously part of the inner circle, that sort of thing anyway. But yeah. We're gonna sit there and go, that's cool. But is that how it's done? Are you sure that's how it's done? Because how do I know that you're right?
Yeah, true. And it's, I mean, there is a thing I tell when magicians ask me, like younger magicians, they say, got any advice or when to start learning magic or whatever. There's always a couple of places I push them to because I go, don't learn off YouTube because a lot of those people teach on YouTube, they got it wrong in the first place. This is the blind leading the blind, right? Don't be learning off somebody that doesn't even know how it's done, right? Because if they're saying, oh, the best way to do this trick, to learn this card move is like this, they're teaching you badly. They're teaching you the wrong way to do it, and it's not good in the first place. So, yeah, there's a few places you can kind of go and learn the stuff proper.
Yeah. It's like taking driving lessons off your dad. Learn bad
exactly.
habits. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Do you know what? I'll use that. That's a really good analogy. Yeah.
You did an Italian TV show as well called Tu Si Che Vale. So I'm not Italian, but did the comedy translate? The magic obviously would have done, but did the comedy side translate over there or no?
No, it did not. No, it definitely did not. I'll tell you that much. The judges all seem to really like it because one of them was a bit of a magic fan, and he was sort of saying in Italian. I did not know this until it got translated, but he was saying this is really original, and he was saying to everybody, what you might not know about this is that this is actually a really original routine, and I've never even seen anything done like this before, and so this is like credit where credit is due, sort of thing, just for that. But yeah, I was doing these jokes that went with it. But what happened is, it was live translated to the audience. So there was an audience there of say 1,000 people, and in these 4 judges, I did my trick, and I said, "Hi, my name's Alan Hudson. I'm a magician, and I need a helper." Right, and then I had to pause while the translator came on, going, "I can't do Italian, but hello, Alan Hudson." And then an assistant or whatever. And so and I would top pause and listen to this, and then go, "Oh, okay," and then go, "Which one? This one?" And I go, "Thank you," and then would say "thank you" in Italian, and I'd say, "Can you put this bag on your head?" And it'd go, "I need a bag on my head, though." That's probably not Italian. Let's be honest.
That's Spanish.
I think I'm making this. Yeah, that's Spanish. So yeah, and so all comedy timing is lost. And so I would do a joke and go there, right? Obviously nothing from the audience. And I'd wait for the translation to come out and go, and then wait to see if it gets a laugh. Nothing. I go, oh. And of course, you need to be able to tell the joke and do the in your rhythm. And then you also have to be doing a thing. You can't just wait for the guy to tell the joke, and you're looking like this, going. And for also, I think he was doing his own material as well, because it got 0 laughs. It was a terrible death as far as I'm concerned. However, the trick worked, and that's the important thing. And so the judges still liked it, and then. They put me through to the next round. All I never ended up going back again. It's a bit like the BGT thing. They put loads of people through, but then then they invite a certain amount of people to actually come back and do other stuff. The weird thing about that show, right, is the prize money. They said the prize was, I think it was 100,000 euros in gold coins.
Right.
Right. So when I got there, I did not know this, and they said, so they interview you. Those things where you sat in the box. You've seen Britain's Got Talent and all those things where you sat in the boxes and they ask you questions just so they can show a little clip of it. And they said, "So what would you do with the prize money?" I went, "It's the prize money." I didn't even know it was prize money. I went, "I thought it'd be. No one told me what is it?" And they went, "It's 100,000 euros in gold coins." I went, "Gold coins? How heavy is that? Like, I've got my bags full already. Like the excess baggage on that's going to be crazy. Like how?" And they went, "Oh no, yeah, we'll deliver it to your house." I went, "But you bring coins to my house, like actual gold coins?" And then they went, "Yeah, anyway, so are you excited about being on the show?" And I went, "Back to these coins. Like, what? How is it right? There's like a man turn up with them And then we put them on your doorstep. Like, do you check to see if I'm in? Because what if my neighbour goes, why is there 100,000 euros of gold coins? Oh, so what am I supposed to do with them afterwards? And they went, yeah, forget about that. So what trick are you doing for us today? I was like, no. Back these gold coins. Like, I think maybe that's one of the reasons I didn't get through. Like, I think they didn't get me back again. I think I could not work the show out. It was a crazy show.
I just got visions of this red letter thing coming through your doorstep. We've left your parcel in the recycling bin of 100,000 gold coins.
Yeah. And it's real as well, apparently. That is what happens. It's not a gag, They really. But I was just going through all of it. I was going, could you post them through my letterbox, a couple at a time, maybe? Is that a thing? Rather than leaving them on my doorstep,
Does it come in a chest and is it buried and I have to find it?
Yeah, it's such a weird thing. But they thought it was perfectly normal. They were going, well, yeah, it's the gold. You win the gold coins. As if every other show in the world does this. Because one thing about these shows is because they were going, why do you not know about this? I was going, well, because you asked me to be on it. They paid me to go out there and do the show, So it's the same as America's Got Talent. America's Got Talent didn't pay me to go out, but they asked me to be on the show, and they flew me out and stuff like that, which is pretty exciting. You get just to be treated like a bit of a star. Going, are you going to fly me out to America and put me up in a hotel in Pasadena in California and go on a TV show? Do I want to do that? Yeah, of course I want to do that. Yeah, of course I want to do it. And the same with 2EC Wireless, they sort of, they pay expenses and give you a bit of money and stuff for that one. And so they just said, do you want to come and do this Italian TV show and have a week in Rome and you only have to film for one day? I went, yeah, I'm in on that. And so when I got there and there was all this talk about gold coins, I literally had no idea what was going on.
They're probably hoping you'd throw them in the Trevi or something, just throw them in the Trevi fountain.
Yeah.
So I did want to mention, you've said several times how you remember the magic circle, and I know this is a big deal for magicians, but for those listening and are going, what the hell is the magic circle? What exactly is the magic circle?
Yeah, it's odd that, isn't it? Because I say the magic circle, assuming everyone knows about it, and then I meet people and they go, "What is the magic circle? Is it?" I thought it was a mythical thing. I thought it was just something that was like Hogwarts or something, something that was made up once in a book. And they go, "Wait, is there a real magic circle?" I go, "Yeah, it is real." They go, "Nah." I go, "It is. Honestly, it's a real thing, and it's a real place as well. Like in London, there's it's in Euston, and it's tucked away just around one of the sort of back streets, just behind the train station. And the Magic Circle building is there. So the Magic Circle is a club that magicians can be a member of. And they've got their own building, and it's got a museum there with all these old magic posters and old artifacts. And it's got a Tommy Cooper fez in there, and it's got the trainers that Dymo wore when he walked across the water of the Thames. And there's a famous bit when he was walking on water for one of his TV shows. It's got the trainers that he had, and it's got various things from really old magicians, the newer ones and stuff. It's really cool. And but it's also got members of this club, so they do public shows, and it might be you see someone doing close-up magic in one room, then you go to a theatre, and then you can see a stage show with magic, and that's normally done by the members, and I'm a member of it. And I've been a member for about 20 years, probably, something like that. And I'm now a member of the Inner Magic Circle, which is kind of that's by, the president has to invite you in, basically. So it's one of those things you can't audition for, or you have to audition to be a member of the Magic Circle. And but you can't audition to be a member of the Inner Magic Circle. That's when you've shown your worth in a way. It's like it's there in your stripes. It's essentially that sort of that eventually if you stick around long enough and you're seen to be or deemed to be good enough or whatever, and the president thinks that you're good, he can ring you up one day and say, I'm promoting you to be a member of the Inner Magic Circle with Gold Star. And there's only 250 then in the entire world. And it's a worldwide club. So that was quite a buzz when I got that one. That's like a little childhood thing, that's a long way from producing a cake out of a pan. Do you know what I mean? To have the president of the Magic Circle saying, you're in the Inner Magic Circle, man. I go, yes.
It must be incredible. It must be a hell of a proper bucket list. Like, this was all worth it.
Really is.
This is all, yeah.
It really is. And I know a lot of people don't even know the Magic Circle exists. But to magicians, when you're in it, and as I say, I'm in deep. This is all I do. I wake up and I start thinking about magic tricks, and just it's a lot of my friends are magicians, and I'll try and go out with my other friends and have a normal conversation, but at the end of it, it's always on your brain. It's like if you're a comedian, imagine you're always trying to think of just jokes or whatever. Whatever you do, whatever your passion is, you end up thinking about it all the time. And musician, you must. I wonder if I could get into a song somehow, and always think about it. And so the Magic Circle thing has always been on my brain since I was a kid, knowing about it, reading about it in magic books. I remember reading a magic book when I was a kid, and just thinking, "Wow, when I'm 18, I'll be able to go there." And that's all I wanted. I just wanted to visit it, and that'd have been at that point. That'd have been enough. It was a dream, kid from Hull going, imagine going to London, going to the Magic Circle, mind blowing. Like I could. That also, it seemed like an unrealistic dream as well at that point. That seemed unrealistic. So, yeah, to become a member then, and then a member of the Inner Magic Circle was, bucket list.
That's amazing. I want to say, I know we've had we've had so much fun talking all about this stuff, but I think the one thing you take away from this conversation is the fact that you said this is all you've ever wanted to do in your life. And you did it. Yeah. You taught yourself with your little kits on your book, that box under your bed, and you didn't stop. You had that dream to go to the Magic Circle. You went to the fucking Magic Circle. You became a member of the Magic Circle. You became the inner circle of the Magic Circle. You've done nothing but chase your dreams for your entire life, and you've done it. And that is incredible. That is absolutely mind-blowing. Like, I admire and respect that so damn much, because let's be honest, if most people turn around as a kid and go, do you know what I'm going to be when I'm older? A magician. They go, okay, little Timmy, you go crack on now, boy. But you fucking did it on national TV. You fooled Penn and Teller, for Christ's sake. It's phenomenal. And if I had a hat, I'd tip it, because it is absolutely amazing. It really is.
Thanks. Although I do also think, and this is like almost like the magic thing now, where, I do something that is pretty amazing, and then I have to undercut it with a joke. I will also say to that, because to sort of take that, it's almost like a compliment. I will undercut it by saying I am also unemployable anywhere else, because I like, what else am I going to do, right? My CV looks like I've been in prison for the last 30 years, right? Because who are your last employees? Well, I don't know, have I? We've been doing card tricks. Like, you go, yeah, of course you have. But what other firms have you worked at? None. Do you know what I mean? It looks like I've not been doing anything. So, and also now, I really couldn't get. I just couldn't get in a job. Like, I wouldn't know how to do it, or like, once you've done something for so long, you just find a way, don't you, to do it. But I do realise I'm very lucky to do magic as a living. Like, a lot of people try and they can't do it, and it's really hard, hustling for gigs, and especially early on, and trying to get into that position. And then, yeah, I'm in a position now where I've done it long enough, and there's I still have to try. I still have to work hard at it. It's you can't just sit down and do nothing and hope it all just kind of comes to you. I'm still writing this show for Edinburgh and doing that, and then hoping that leads to something else, and doing all that sort of thing. But I'm kind of in the groove of it now. I know I know what I should be doing, and I think that makes it a bit easier when at least you know how it works. So, yeah.
With you mentioned your show at Edinburgh. Like, would you ever have your own TV series? Is that a goal? Is that what's next for you in that sort of retrospect?
Yeah, it like I'd say like probably 10 years ago, I think I really wanted a TV show. I wanted to be, Paul Daniels has not been on TV for a while. Dynamo had sort of I think he was just about to come out then, or maybe it was about 10 years ago he came out. I was thinking, I'd really like to do this. But having done a few TV spots now and knowing how hard it is just to do them little bits, I don't think I could do it.
No?
It's too difficult. It's too much stress. And I'll be honest, I've got a pretty easy life. Like
Fair enough.
I go and do a few gigs. I do the gigs that I want to do. I don't do the gigs that I don't want to do. And if something fun comes along, like the Foolers thing, or America's Got Talent, America's Got Talent, I rehearsed for about 2 weeks solid to do 2 minutes on TV. And even then, it was utter chaos. And if it comes out, you'll see it's utter chaos, on stage. I mean, I don't know how it's going to look. It might look good. It might look bad. But it's crazy. The woman I get up to do it, one of the judges. I think I'm allowed to say this. No, maybe not. I don't know. I don't know. No, better not. But anyway, she is not helpful. Let me say that much.
Oh, okay. She's no Amanda Holden.
No, exactly. Come back, Amanda. All is forgiven. She made things difficult. I'll say that much. And doing that, you go. That was for 2 minutes TV. I spent a couple of weeks doing that. Just rehearsing all beforehand and thinking about it every day and going and then putting your bits in it. And then the producers go, "What are you wearing?" "Oh, I'm wearing this. Can you send us 5 different choices of outfits?" I go,
"Why?"
I know. And I go, "Right, do you want this? Do you want this? Nice. Black shirt, these trousers, white trainers, these." And then eventually go, "Hang on," and then come back to you a day later and go, "Yeah, we've chosen that one." I go, "All right." And when I got that, I just want something different anyway. I didn't even ask. But there's all that goes on, and they do anything to the minute detail. So everything's done to a sort of very small degree. They like to control everything, and they try. They like to kind of change your act a bit. And sometimes for the better, and sometimes for the worse. So they like to say, "Oh, can you do this? Can you do that?" And that's it's their show. You're a cog in their big machine, right? It's their big show. But you go, this is for 2 minutes of TV or 2 or 3 minutes. Can you imagine doing an hour's show and then doing that for 6 weeks or 8 weeks or something like that? The workload on that, I can't imagine it. I know you'd have a big team with you and stuff like that, but I just think the stress. I've known people that had their own TV show, and the one guy, after the second episode, he stopped watching it. He hated it so much. He stopped watching it because it had been edited. All the tricks had been edited in a different way to what he wanted them to be. And also, he knew it was going to be not what he wanted when he was filming it because of all the restraints of doing these things. That's why people like Richard Herring, right? Is a really good example of somebody that used to be on TV, now a very big podcaster. He much prefers, I think, doing podcasting and doing his own things because he knows that he can put it out in whatever state he wants to put it out. If this is on TV, it'd all be chopped, wouldn't it? It'd all be different.
Yeah.
So, and you probably have somebody different saying, "No, you can't do it like that. You can't say this, and you can't swear, or it can't be." I don't know. It'll all change, and you might not have full control over it. Whereas with this is your thing. You get to decide what goes out and what doesn't go out. And if you think a bit's boring, you'll just cut this bit out, right? And if you think it's good, you'll leave it in. But that's your choice, and you get to decide what you're putting out there into the world.
I get that.
Difficult when it's somebody else's thing, when it's a show that there's so many people in control of. Like also the amount of material that you'd have to think up of. Like,
it's a lot of work.
The amount of tricks. Tricks is hard as well. Like comedians can try a joke out that they wrote in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So, because I do, like, in the comedy clubs, I'm really jealous of them. Sometimes they go, I thought of this afternoon, I thought I'd try it tonight. And they do it, and sometimes it'll die, or sometimes it'll go really well. And afterwards they'll go, oh yeah, I'm keeping that. That's really good, that. Whereas if I think of a bit, I have to go, right, I'm going to make my headphones disappear. Right, how am I going to do that? Right. I have to think about it for a week as to how I'm going to make it disappear. And then I might have to get some little gimmicks made, right, to do it. And then they probably don't even work. And then I'll probably have to go back to this, like a builder guy going, right, can you make it so it's like this? Or the thing that makes it disappear is like this. Or maybe I have to work harder on sleight of hand. Or maybe whatever it is to make them disappear, I have to practice and do it. Then I have to try and make that funny. I have to try and put a gag into it. Right. And then after about 6 months of doing it, I can finally go on stage, right, and go, I've thought of this new trick. Boom. And then the audience might go, nah, shit that. And I go, all right. Well,
God, that's so true.
I just spent 6 months doing that. It's cost me like 500 quid, that. I'm trying to... You're not into that? All right.
Pass me a 50p roller cling film. Let's go. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no mind. Stick this bag on your head. Yeah. And then it's imagine doing that for like a TV show. That's trick. That's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I get it completely get it. But Alan, this has been absolutely incredible. One last thing for me before I hand over to my wonderful co-host there. Like, if there's a particular trick of yours, a favourite trick, I know it's like asking to pick a favorite, like your favourite child or something, but one that you do that you're like extra proud of, what would that be?
So it can be any of them at different times. So there's like the cling film trick, which is on Foolers. Go and watch that. There's the bag trick with Tom Parker. That's like one of my favourites. There's a couple of others that are on there that you like different ones at different times. So what I did the other night, right? So this is one that I really like, and it's a banish a ring, and I make it appear in a walnut, which is in a bag at the other side of the room, basically. So so the other night, so I borrow a ring and I put it under a hanky, and it disappears, and then I say, go and take that bag there. She takes out the walnut, cracks it open, and it's in there. Right, and it's a really cool trick. But the other night I was at the comedy club. I know it is like that as well. I'm not. Yeah, it is that good. If I do say so myself, it is that good. That's why I'm in the magic circle, mate. I mean, come on. You don't get that for nothing. So the other night there was got this woman up. She was a bit pissed, and she was really giggly and a little bit nervous, and she was like going, oh, laughing like it's like nervous after being on stage, which I understand. And I was trying to put her at ease, and then she said something, and I went, "Have you been drinking?" And she went, "Yeah." And then she pointed to her badge. It said 40 on it. I went, "You've had 40?" And then she was like, yeah. She was like, birthday. It was a birthday badge, right? It was a birthday. She just went, I've been out for a birthday. I went, oh, good. Right. I said, this is a great story, isn't it? Like, what did you do on your 40th birthday? I helped a magician and did this trick with her. And she was just laughing all the way through. And I've got all these gags about it being on a dove coming along, but the dove never appears. I go, where's the dove coming? It's not here. I went, right, in that case, go and get this bag over there. Brings it out, the walnut, and then she was laughing away, going, giggle, 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 ha, 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 ha. I crack the walnut open. She cracks the walnut open. Well, I sort of crack it open in her hand so she can hold it the whole time. And I said, look, just get with your fingers now, peel it apart. She's laughing. And she went in, she just went, fuck off. And all of a sudden, she seemed to like sober up. She seemed to like sober up in that one instant, where she did not expect that ring to be in that walnut, and it was there. And yeah, at that point, the audience, you can imagine that as an audience thing, seeing this giggly woman on stage, and then her whole demeanour just changed as this amazement. And she brought it out and sort of held it up for everyone and went, oh, like this. And then, so that in that moment, that became my baby. Do you know what I mean? My favourite trick of that night. But then on another night, it could be the cling film thing. Something extra good happens with it, or different happens with it, or something. Or maybe it's the balloons that something really funny will happen. Like, with the Tom Parker thing, like, I really enjoyed it that night because it started off normal, and then all of a sudden, he popped like another balloon, and I went, "Here we go! I'm allowed to ad lib now," and it's funny, and I can get going with it, and that became So the answer is there's actually not one of them that's, and I think musicians say that, don't they, a lot. I used to hear musicians say it's like, "Oh, it's the one I'm working on now," or something.
Yeah.
But for me, I think it's like it can be any of them at any point.
I like that.
Yeah.
I love that. Phenomenal. Mr. Stevens, do you have any more questions for our wonderful guest?
I do. Funnily enough, I wrote this question down and I noticed it was on your website anyway, but I still want to ask it. So,
okay.
How do you feel that magic is portrayed?
How much do you charge?
And can I book you next week? How do you feel that magic has been portrayed in the movies in Hollywood?
Yeah, that's good. Like different, isn't it? It's like it used to be really like bad, didn't it? It used to be really like magic was always up until about maybe 20 years ago, something like that. It was always like a cheesy thing. I think that if there was a magician, it would always like a sort of sleazy magician that was trying to chat up girls with tricks and things like that in a real slimy, horrible way. And then all of a sudden it got quite cool with films like The Prestige and The Illusionist, and they sort of like, they're both really good films, and they both portrayed magicians as being not necessarily like, you can't always say like as good guys, but at least as an art form that's worth thinking about, that's valid. Like, it's not just, hey, here's a coin behind your ear, like that sort of thing. It's a proper thing. And then movies like Now You See Me, they sort of did that as well. They were sort of a bit more modern take on magicians. And then every now and again, you do get movies like the Burt Wonderstone movie and stuff like this that are sort of taking a piss out of magicians. I think that's fair enough now, because it doesn't always have to be good in every, as long as there's a mix. That's the thing, isn't it? That's what when it's your thing that you believe in, and magic is mine, that I believe in the art form and love it. I want it to be portrayed fairly, and so I think it's fair that they're showing some magicians in some movies being good, and some magicians being utter arseholes, because that's fair. So. Because that's life, innit? That's life in anything, isn't it? So it don't matter what you do. You're a podcaster. There'll be some great podcasters, be some arseholes, comedians, some great ones, some utter knobheads. Don't matter what you do. So yeah, I think it's fair. I think it's good.
Awesome. And finally, before we let you get out of here, did you ever think that when you were a child, getting your magic boxes and placed them under your bed nice and carefully, that you'd be now here within the inner magic circle, being on Britain's Got Talent, being on all those TV shows, fooling Penn and Teller, that sort of thing? Did you ever think that was going to happen?
I thought you were going to say on your podcast. I was going to say, no, I did not. I did not dream that I'd be here. I mean, it was again, it was a bucket list. I honestly, I thought I was hoping, but I didn't think it was going to be possible. You don't think about anything. You just think about the next thing. I think, like, all the time. You just think, like, when I was a kid, it was like, how do I get my next magic set? Or one day I might be able to visit the magic circle, and then you visit the magic circle, and you go, well, I'm here now. Hey, I wonder if I could join the magic circle, and then you join the magic circle, and then you go, how do I get to be an associate of the inner magic circle? It's always the next level, isn't it, with anything? So, I think if you, in podcasting or whatever, right, you go, how do I reach 100 viewers? Then you go, how do I reach 1,000? Then it's how do I reach 10,000? How do I reach 1,000,000? How do I? And it never ends.
No.
So like now, I don't go, oh, I've done some TV things. It stops. I just go, what's the next thing now? My next thing is Edinburgh, doing the Edinburgh Festival. I go, great, do that. But I know after that it'll be something else. We'll go, right, maybe me and Kat have enjoyed doing this double act. So we go, right, why don't we come up with a trip to full Penn and Teller together this time? Or why don't we go on Britain's Got Talent as a double act and then see how that goes? There's always going to be a next thing with it. So, yeah, imagine that, like, as a kid, just producing that birthday cake, just then fooling the best two magicians in the world. Like, yeah. Yeah.
Love it. Mr. Hudson, any plugs, social medias, anything you want people to go and check out, sir?
Well, if you're on YouTube, you can see all these here. And if you're on the podcast, you can't see them. So I will say it. It's Alan Hudson Magic, and that's pretty much on anything. Alan Hudson Magic, and then you'll find me. And and you can see because I think we've mentioned getting wrapped up in cling film, putting a bag on the head. If you've listened this far in the podcast, you've got to be intrigued, haven't you, about what that is. If you made it 10 minutes in and went, this isn't for me, fair play. I say fair play, right? Not a problem. But if you've made it this far, surely you've got to be interested. You got, I could listen to a podcast for 2.5 hours or whatever it is, 2 hours, and then go, nah, I don't care about that thing. Like, you'd have to, wouldn't you?
Exactly. Oh, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much for doing this. It means the absolute world. It really does.
No, thanks very much. No, absolute pleasure. We never met before, and you reached out and said, "Will I come on?" And that was great. Yeah, I love that. Thank you.
Phenomenal.
Alan, man, thank you so much. It's graciously appreciated. This is absolutely amazing, and thank you for spending your Monday evening with us.
No, thanks so much. And I'm going to go because Kat is waiting to watch Succession. So she's going. My watch has been buzzing. She's probably texting me going, "How long are you going to be?"
Yeah, sorry about that. Like I said at the start, we do tend to waffle and go on.
No, it's good because it's about the thing that I love the most, isn't it? So yeah, for me it's been brilliant. No, thanks for.
Don't pause it for her. Let her watch it. Don't pause it.
I need to see it. Do you watch it?
I don't actually know.
I need to. It's on the list.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's like the best thing on TV at the moment. It's so good.
I'll take your word for it. I might watch it.
We've finished the podcast now, right? I mean, honestly, it is to me, it's the best bit of TV in 10 years. It's
wow. So okay. I'll tell you what.
One of the episodes in this last season on IMDb got rated 10. So
really,
and that never happens. Yeah, and it actually now I think it's gone to 9.9 because I think some people probably got annoyed it was 10 and sort of burned it down.
Oh,
but still. It's very rare that you get there's one episode in this last season that is so good. It's one of the best episodes of any TV show I've ever seen, including Breaking Bad, Wire, and all of those other sort of things. It's so good.
Cool. Right, well, I'll be doing that tonight then. Thank you very much. I'll sort my evening out.
There you go. Yeah. And I've also told some of my friends this, and they've gone, I get it. So I do realise it's a bit divisive. It can be a bit divisive, but if you really like it, you love it. I think it's one of those where if you get into it, it's the best thing you've ever seen. And some people just go, I didn't get it. I didn't like any of the characters. They're all hateful. And you go, yes, they're all hateful. That's the point. They're all horrible. You don't like any of them. But that makes it great. So yeah, anyway, all right.
Go watch it.
Right. Yeah, good to meet you. Right, cheers, guys.
You too, Alan. Take care, fella. See you later.
Yeah, see you later. Cheers, bye.
What a glorious interview. But I'm ashamed to admit, Alan, I still can't work out that fucking thumb thing. I don't know. I just can't do it.
I am going to tell you how it's done after this interview, after we finish this episode. All right?
I will.
Because I don't know
one
how.
day. I've just never been able to do it.
The worrying thing is, James, it's so simple.
I know.
So-
I've watched people do it. I've had people show me how to do it, and still my hands just go, yeah.
And Alan even shows you in that interview as well. Alan, thank you so much for taking the time out to sit and chat to us. It was absolutely incredible to have you on. So much fun. We wish you all the success going forward, and we look forward to catching up with you soon. And we really, really, really hope that everyone enjoyed watching / listening to it as we did recording it.